Why this story matters. While challenges remain, stories like this demonstrate that constructive action can make a real difference. Quick summary: this story highlights recent developments related to this day in history, showing how constructive action can lead to meaningful results. 92 years ago today, the first American football championship game was played in the diamond at Wrigley Field between the Chicago Bears and the New York Giants. Called the championship, it was nevertheless to be the precursor to the Super Bowl of the modern era. Home field advantage went to the Bears after registering a better record of 10-2-1 to the Giants 11-3, and it was the home team that eventually won with a score of 20-21. Read more about the game that became the Super Bowl 1933, the first NFL championship game program. Public domain. 1933 was the first season in which the NFL's 10 teams were split into two divisions. Owner of the Boston Redskins, George Marshall, suggested the two division leaders then meet for a championship game. According to the Chicago Tribune, paid attendance for the game was approximately 21,000, but several hundred more climbing the fences, the police politely turning their backs. In a story the following day, the Associated Press described it as probably the most spectacular game of the year and a brilliant display of offensive power. That power included a rather ridiculous running play where the Bears center, Mel Heim, gained some 60 yards having hid the ball under his shirt. Would you like to read more good news about this day in history and on this day? More good news from this date. British Industrial Company, BTH, received a patent for holography invented by Dennis Gabor 1904. The Air Quality Act of 1967 was passed unanimously by the US Senate, which initiated intensive monitoring and inspections into sources of air pollution and what to do about it, and led to passage of the 1967 Clean Air Act 1967. The SALT I talks began between the Soviet Union and the US to control nuclear arms 1967, and the United Nations General Assembly passed a resolution designating November 29th as the annual International Day to eliminate violence against women 1967, and the spaceship on Flight 11P, piloted by Brian Binnie, made its first supersonic flight to 2022. French sailor Francois Gabot set the round-the-world record for fastest solo navigation of the globe in 40 days, 7 hours 18 years ago. English actor Bernard Hill, most known for his portrayal of King Theoden in The Lord of the Rings, was born. Hill owns the distinction of being the only actor who has been part of two films that have won 11 Academy Awards, with the first being Titanic, in which he played Captain Edward Smith, and the second being The Return of the King. Bernard Hill as King Theoden. New Line Cinema. Wingnut Films Fair used the demands for the role of King Theoden were intense, requiring plenty of filming in full armor, portraying a complex character with multiple motivations, many scenes on horseback, and the capability to deliver a rousing speech, all while being essentially a supporting role. Bernard Hill, who died unexpectedly in May of 2012, also lent his voice to a variety of narrative efforts, including the BBC's six-part nature documentary Wild China, and he starred in theatre productions as well, most notably his portrayal of Macbeth in 1976. 1974 years ago today, the Aztec or Mexican sunstone was discovered under the Zocalo in Mexico City, a national icon, symbol of the nation's past and continuous mystery. Weighing more than 50,000 pounds and spanning 141 inches in diameter, the massive carving depicts animals, perhaps cosmological details and orientations such as the cardinal points. It's also believed to be a calendar of sorts, either mythological or factual. Aztec Sunstone CC 4.0. Juan Carlos Fonseca Marta. The central disc represents, according to modern and older scholarship, the current era of humanity, perhaps by the sun god or the earth demon. The four squares around the central figure are as follows, according to a book published by the Getty Research Institute. The top right square represents 4 Jaguar Nahuatl, the date on which the first era ended, after having lasted 606 years, due to the appearance of monsters that devoured all of humanity. The top left square shows 4-Wind Nahuatl, the date on which, after 364 years, hurricane winds destroyed the earth and humans were turned into monkeys. The bottom left square shows 4-Rain Nahuatl. This era lasted 312 years before being destroyed by a rain of fire, which transformed humanity into turkeys. The bottom right square represents 4-Water Nahuatl, an era that lasted 616 years and ended when the world was flooded and all the humans were turned into fish. Watch a Khan Academy lecture explaining the stone. 117 birthday, Eugene Levy, the Canadian actor, comedian, producer, director, and writer, won a pair of major Emmys in 2020, Best Comedy Series and Outstanding Lead Actor in a Comedy for Schitt's Creek, a show he co-created with his son and co-star Dan Levy. Eva Rinaldi, CC 2.0. Often playing flustered and unconventional characters, Levy started off at Second City SCTV in Toronto with Gilda Radner and Martin Short. He's well known for works such as the American Pie movies and multiple collaborations with actor-director Christopher Guest, co-starring in and co-writing 4 of his films, including Waiting for Guffman and Best in Show. Watch an interview with Stephen Colbert 1934 to 89 years ago today. Pope Francis, who became leader of the Catholic Church in March 2013, was born of Italian immigrant parents in Argentina and first ordained as a priest 46 years ago. He is now beloved around the world as a man of the people. Check out the list of cheeky good news stories about this rebel pope since his arrival.